As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission, I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going, better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain, keep on working, open curtains. Haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up, fall down, I just gotta get up, yeah.
You're listening to the Tom Ficklin Show on WNHH-LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.
Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Just before we came on air, and Harry, good morning to you. Reverend Clayton had asked me, where am I going today? And I really took that question to heart, because today's show is kind of focused on where are we all going from a health and taking ownership of your health and advocacy and awareness standpoint. But I think that the question that Reverend Clayton posed in terms of where are you going is appropriate for everyone every day. Just to really think about what your destination is. Is it a collective destination, an individual destination, a community benefit? Is it a survival destination? Is it a thrival destination? But in these days and times, and I want to thank you, Reverend Clayton, for laying that question out, that your self-determination and your destiny is something not to think that you have to be a heroic, a hero or a heroine, but you do have to have courage and also find support. So I just want to publicly thank you, Reverend Clayton, for kind of just posing that question, because as you can see, it stimulated some thoughts in my mind. Today we're talking about where are we going? Where are we going in terms of colon cancer and awareness and advocacy? And we have Terry with us, Terry Carson, who's really the embodiment of that journey, and she's going to chat about that. Reverend Leroy Perry is with me, as well as Reverend Clayton, as I mentioned, cultural ambassadors for the Yale Center for Clinical Investigation. So good morning, mighty gentlemen and mighty ladies.
Morning.
Good. Reverend Perry, kind of kick us off about telling our story and Terry's involvement, and really so glad to have her, because it seems to me that you can read clinical journals and medical journals and go to lectures, but hearing people that have really gone through and are participating and really trying to improve the medical system, that's really the profound message. So Reverend Perry, take it away, and Terry, really glad to see you again.
Thank you.
And thank you, Tom. Part of our Ficklin show and telling is one half is focused on speaking with researchers, and the other half is focused on speaking to participants who've been engaged in some form of research or clinical trial. And it was my awesome pleasure to meet Terry Carson at an event, Tom, that you were with Dr. Sarpong.
Mm-hmm.
Because of all the people we've had on, we've never had a cancer survivor come and tell their story. And when I first spoke with her, I was in awe of the fact that not only is she a cancer survivor, but she is an enthusiast when it comes to understanding what cancer is all about. So she and I share the treasured book, Emperor of All Maladies, which talks about, where the cancer comes from. Because, and as I was saying to her earlier in the meeting, my assumption prior to having any knowledge was that, cancer could be cured, that people were making money off cancer. So that's why it was still around, because, we've conquered almost everything else, flu, cold, polio. Why can't we get rid of cancer? And so in the Emperor of All Maladies, it lets us know that cancer can be environmental, it can be genetic, it has a way of camouflaging itself against our immune cells. And so it is difficult to beat. And they've tried everything. They've tried radical surgery, they've tried radiation, they've tried chemotherapy, and nothing really seems to work. Now they're doing re-engineering of genes, so that they can put a gene into your body that will allow your genes to see the cancer cells in your body, so that they can put up the good fight. And so Terry has not only put up the good fight, and we're really interested in, and I want our audience to hear her story, And I wanted to follow up on the story with how she became an advocate by starting her own foundation. And she has some Himalayan rock therapies that she's going to talk about, and some teas. And maybe because one of the things we want to close with is like, how do we live better to help sustain our systems against the enemy we call cancer. So it is a way for us to try to think about how we're going to stamp out cancer, how we're going to address cancer. And Terry, I think you're the person with the testimony that yes, we can. That's Obama. Yes, we can. We can win. And I think people need to hear at least the victory cry in our day.
Terry, he's passed the mic to you, I think, in a splendid way.
Wow. Wow. Thank you so much. I am ecstatic to be here and actually meeting Reverend Perry. As he said, the connectivity was there in just discussing the emperor of all maladies and understanding the fact that cancer in itself is everything that you have said, plus so much more that we don't know. And reading that encyclopedia, that volume of just about 1,000 pages or more, being able to read that was an eye-opening experience for myself. So I want to just say that was our connectivity. And since then, I have just been blessed with many opportunities that have been presented for me to share my story. So thank you so much. And thank you, Tom, for having me on your show this morning.
My pleasure.
Yeah. So I'd like, I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, continue, please.
Yes, I was going to just give you a quick overview of my cancer journey, the marathon of cancer, because cancer in itself, I'd like to say it's a marathon. It's a marathon. It is not that sprint. It is not that quick, 100-yard dash. You have to be in it to win it. And it's done by the grace of God. That is the only thing that I can really purport. And if that's the only thing that anyone who is listening can get out of this, I want you to understand that you have got to know that the marathon, you cannot run a marathon alone. You need a coach to prepare for the journey. You need the direction, the wisdom, the guidance. That's your family, your support network. And of course, that is our medical professionals. In conjunction with that, if you have the knowledge, if you have the strength to seek out knowledge, as well as a naturalistic, holistic lifestyle, and it can always be developed, that's the winning formula right there that has propelled me forward.
Oh, yeah. You said, does cancer run in your family?
No, it does not. And that's a great question that you asked. So again, beforehand, you mentioned the fact that cancer is environmental, or it's genetic, or so many other ways that we can potentially get cancer that every day is being identified. My husband had cancer and he passed away 7 years ago. My husband passed away from thymoma cancer, which is a rare cancer. Only about 400, 500 people get that per year. It's cancer of the thymus, which is behind the breastplate, near the heart, the lungs, etc. That in itself was an environmental cancer. Bill did not have cancer in his family. After I completed my cancer treatments and moved forward to the realm of cancer survivor, I did the genetic testing at Yale. And I encourage that for everybody to participate in that particular opportunity to get screened and find out the genetic or environmental structure of your cancer. And my cancer was deemed as well to be environmental.
Mm.
So, folks, we have got to understand that the places, the spaces that we are in, the items that we eat, the water that we drink, whatever we're putting in our systems, whereas Tom, your cells, your body can potentially take a drink of water, and I'm just going to use this as an example, from the state of Arizona. Someone else who has visited Arizona may, in fact, drink the water, and their cells may react differently. And that is the great mystery, as Reverend Perry has stated. Cancer is cellular. It is we are all created in the image of God very uniquely, and we all have different cell structures. So what may impact one cell in your body could potentially damage the cell in my body, and then start a chain reaction of damaged cells lead to cancerous cells.
Here, let me ask you a question before Tom jumps in. I've heard people have stage 1 cancer, stage 2 cancer, stage 3, stage 4. So the greater the stage, the more difficult it is to work with the cancer, and so your likelihood of survival is less?
Absolutely correct. Staging sets the medical treatment for your cancer. They are able to distinguish just by the numbers, as you've stated. As we go into stage 4, you are at a greater opportunity of having challenges, difficulties with your treatments versus a stage 1. And there's actually a stage 0 as well. And that is more common with breast cancer. And that shows that an individual has the propensity for developing the cancers. So again, based on our testing, our social economical status, the equity that is presented to individuals, those who can afford the opportunity are sometimes able to identify the 0 staging and move forward from there.
Wow, that's helpful.
I just was going to mention, Reverend Perry, that this month is also prostate cancer
Yes, it is.
abolition month. So it's just so timely. Reverend Clayton, let's pull you into the discussion. Make it as free flowing as we want. And Terry's already laid some wisdom seeds that we can certainly elaborate on. I just wonder whether you had any thoughts thus far, Reverend Clayton.
Good morning again, Tom, and thank you. Cancer is a monster, and colon cancer is one of the 3rd most common cancer. And my understanding is like 93 million cases or whatever. And we as Blacks develop colon cancer at an earlier age than our white brothers and sisters. And I was just wondering, Terry, in your journeys and your research and your thoughts, what do you think about that?
Great question, Reverend Clayton. And I have to share with you that we as Black and brown people, again, we're all created in the image of God our Father, but we do have genetic differences. There is distinctly differences that have been noted, that have actually been documented. In fact, prior to encountering
I think her Wi-Fi is...
Yeah, and when she comes back, we'll remind her that she stopped at encountering was the last word that she shared. And again, this...
Am I back again?
Okay.
Yes, Terry. You were cut off right at the word encountering.
Yes. So just prior to me encountering cancer several years back, I had an opportunity to listen to a podcast, and the podcast was from a renowned oncologist who specialized in colon cancer. His name behooves me, but he was sharing all of the details, and this was during Black History Month. He was sharing the details about the fact being that colon cancer tends to affect people of color on the right side of their colon 99% of the time versus people of European descent. So, thus, he stated that if in fact you are ever given an opportunity to forego a colonoscopy, and there are has suggested that we as people of color skip the non-invasive route and actually go for the full colonoscopy. His reasoning was the fact being that the right side of our colons are different from the left side. And if you get the full colonoscopy, that will give the attending physician an opportunity to see the full spectrum of your body versus dealing in halves and actually making a purported decision about your colon health.
That's important.
It's very important. It's very important. And as we talk about colonoscopy, it is very important that we talk again to our people of color, especially our men. People feel as though colonoscopies are very difficult to bear, invasive into their bodies. And I've heard all sorts of reasonings that men decide that colonoscopies are not for them. And I want to dispel all of those rumors that it is for everyone, that the process in itself can only work to save your life because of the fact being, as many symptoms that are currently there for colon cancer, I must stress that cancer can be invisible. And Reverend Perry, you're very much familiar with this from our discussions and our readings. And I myself had no symptoms of colon cancer, but I was staged at colon cancer stage 3. I lived a healthy life. I lived a natural, holistic, naturopathic lifestyle, minus red meat. I just chose never to eat red meat in my life because my family didn't eat red meat. I exercise. I didn't smoke. I didn't drink. I didn't do recreational drugs. I walked 5 miles every day. I can go on and on and on. And that then leads us to the fact that environmentally, we can be potentially subjected to a lot more of the brutalities of the environment. Places, spaces that people of color actually are in tend to have, for instance, lung cancer, asthma. I can go on and on and on. So we need to be cognizant of this, that in addition to that, cancer can infiltrate your body and have your cells thinking that they're brothers and sisters and cousins to the existing cells that are inside your body. They're very, very clever, very clever. So testing, awareness is the key to reaching our community.
Excellent. And Terry, just before we go to your foundation, Reverend Perry's mentioned the holistic health and some of the
yes,
self-actions that people can take. To talk to us about the CAR T cell therapy. CAR T cell therapy.
Yes, let me talk with you about that. So first and foremost, everyone's aware of the term immunotherapy. Immunotherapy. The fact being that the body can potentially heal itself. by various therapies that are created and engineered for your body. Most people know about that. The opportunity now exists where CAR T cells, which are specialized cells within your body that can be re-engineered to heal your body. So currently in cancer, blood cancers, leukemia, for example, and childhood leukemias, they're currently utilizing those therapies right now where the blood can be removed from your body, certain cells, and sometimes the blood can be taken from your body and re-engineered with a mixture to actually support introducing new cells into your body, CAR T cells, that then become the, if I can use this term, the soldier cells that are sent out on a recon duty to find the enemy. And it is then able to locate the enemy who has actually become a part of your body, who's now living as a regular resident in your body. They're able to find those enemies and then tell every other cell in your body, this is the enemy. Let's now attack them. So it's an amazing therapy. And what the CAR T is doing or attempting to do, the project that I'm now working on as a layperson at Yale at Yale College with a team of cancer research scientists. I'm the layperson amidst all these individuals who meet once a week and talk about the progress that they are making to get the CAR T cells now revved up. And I don't know a lot about cars, but I'm going to say that if we talk about automobiles and real cars, I think people will be able to understand. If you could think about a souped up engine that makes your car incredibly loud and fast, they are now working on that very same theory to get the CAR T cells loud and fast enough to be able to attack tumors. So colon cancer that I experienced grew a tumor in my colon. It required me to have surgery and a portion of my colon to be removed. But imagine this, if they are able to re-engineer your cells, inject them back into your body, and pre-program them to go directly to your colon and search for a mass, which is basically what a tumor is, and then attack it by rallying all the other cells together. Imagine that will reduce for the individual the surgical time, less impact on the body, first and foremost. Secondly, it could potentially work at a greater speed, which would then potentially eliminate the need for perhaps a chemotherapy, a radiation therapy. It may allow them to introduce a brand new type of drug or therapy that could serve its purpose in less time and being less damaging to the body. Now that is going to be phenomenal once that happens.
Reverend Perry, that's your cue in terms of whether these cures and therapies will be accessible to all.
Yes, that is the question, Tom. When you look at people of color being disproportionately involved in research, number one, and disproportionate because of poverty, disproportionate because of zip code, whatever the reasons are, I think the reason we're having this show is to make people aware that potentially the research is there, that the new possibilities are there. And if they don't know about them, the doctors might not tell them about it. But at least we can say we did our best
Right.
to bring this information to the people who may need it most, those who are disproportionately affected by not being a part of this kind of knowledge and research that's going on in America.
Exactly. Exactly. Can I say to that, Reverend
No,
Perry?
no, you cannot say anything else for the next 20, 30. No, 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 no. My senses, I'll vote it. Go ahead. It's a lady's world. Go for it, lady. Go for
Thank
it.
you so much. I want to say that the train has left the station on this therapy that I'm talking about. It's real, it is there, and it is happening. Now, as you said, it is up to us to spread the word to our community and for the community to then be willing to be knowledgeable enough, to have courage enough to then go to the station and wait for the train and jump on the train. Because too many times, as you know, the clinical trials are minus people of color. And that train moves at a bullet train speed. And once that cure is in place, that purported cure is in place, the fact being that because the Black and brown folks have not been aboard this train that has been populated by 80% Caucasian, 10% of Asians, and then a few other folks in between. That then presents a quagmire to the researchers who think that or actually, some of them might then move forward and purport that we've got the cure. Here's the cure. And the but factor is that they have not seen us. We have not been a part of it to try it out, to let them know.
Tom, if I can say here that in terms of the train being at the station, what Pharma has done is started an EQB Med project. And they're taking 10 different sites across the country where doctors and researchers will meet with community people to help engage African Americans, Latinos, and others into more understanding about clinical trials and the possibilities of how it may prolong their life and their health. And I know Reverend Clayton and I were in Florence, South Carolina, meeting with the medical university hospital there, and with leaders from all over to bring awareness to that we have to take charge of our health. I mean, you can tell me this all day long, but unless I get up and make that phone call, unless I go in for that screening, unless I say to my doctor, you need to give me a referral for colonoscopy, I can't wait for somebody to open the door. James Brown said we got to open up the door ourselves and take charge of our health. And I think that's so important that we speak up, not that our wives, our daughters speak up for us, but everybody needs to speak up for themselves, because it's our health, it's your health that's important. And nobody knows your body but you, or like you but you.
And Tom, may I just say something before?
Please, Reverend Clayton.
It's a shame. I mean, it's a real shame that people will not get tested because 90%, there's a 90% chance of survival if you get tested early. And if it's caught early, that means that it's treatable. And it's treatable because it's localized. It has not spread to other parts of the body. The longer you wait, the more chance you have of it going to other parts of the body. Then you have a larger problem. Doesn't mean that it's not treatable, but it's harder, more difficult to treat. So we got to make sure that we sound the trumpet, that people get tested as early as possible.
Terry, let's jump, if we could, to your foundation and the teas and the other kind of remedies and efforts that Reverend Perry indicated at the top of the show.
Sure. So first and foremost, with my background, it's very, very holistic. It's very holistic. My family, going back at least 7 generations, we are able to identify natural, holistic, herbal traditionalists that were in my family. Now, prior to generation, 6 or 7, as it came upon me, we also know that was the reality, that our ancestors utilized herbs for the healing. There always was a garden where herbs could be picked, and we would be able to provide healing for ourselves and our communities because of the fact that our African ancestry, that was traditional, that was cultural. Then as we moved and traveled, or we were brought to different areas, different countries, different spaces and places, that same knowledge, that same tradition came with our ancestors. And our ancestors, it is a very well-known fact, were the originators that Western medicine looked to and learned from. So the woman on the plantation, or the man on the plantation who had that knowledge about herbs, they worked very closely with the European doctors or the Europeans in general in sharing knowledge about healing. They were able to grow whatever they grew in their African country. They brought it here to our land where we are now. So with that said, my family was very much so into working the land in Tallahassee, Florida area. My grandmother, God bless her, anything that grew in Florida, she could grow it in her garden in Bridgeport. She had an absolutely beautiful garden. And besides the many plants and flowers, the herbs, anything that happened, anyone that was ill, she had an herbal garden. There were no CVS's in the Walgreens to my remembrance when I was growing up. It was right in our own backyard where our parents and grandma could actually find exactly what was needed to address any type of illness. So first and foremost, my family, we grew up as herbal tea drinkers, herbalists, learning about the land, learning about the plants. That's been incorporated in my lifestyle. I've moved it forward. I introduced it to my daughters, and my daughter, Nicole, who is the owner of Carson Aesthetics Wellness Spa in Milford, Connecticut, has incorporated that into her wellness spa. And I will explain to you how that's done. She utilizes all natural products. She makes products for facials. She provides body services. She has masseuse on duty, etc. And everything is natural, holistic. Organic's the new word that they like to use. So I'll include that as well so people can understand that. We know that whatever is internal in the body, it has to release itself externally, or it releases itself through disease, cancer, as what we're talking about. What we do at our wellness spa is we like to share, impart, provide knowledge to individuals. And we were very successful during COVID because, again, CVS and Walgreens, first 2 places to shut down. So people were more receptive to learning about herbalism and incorporating teas in their life. So I am the herbalist. I blend, I have about 52 to 60 teas, blends. Loose leaf tea blends. I like to say that God created an herb for everything that we need in our lives, and Western medicine has simply synthesized it to a pill, a syrup, or whatever the case might be. But you can best believe that it originated from an herb. So herbal tea drinking, and I drink teas every day. Every day. And holistically, I have a regimen of my teas that I've drank all my life, whether it's seasonally or, for instance, as we're rolling into the fall season. A great detox tea is good to actually release your body of all the wonderful summer eats that you've had, the barbecues, etc., ridding your body of that and getting ready for the fall season, preparing you and building up your immune system. Elderberry, sea moss, guinea hen weed, some of our Caribbean herbs. Now is the time. And as I say, building up our immune system, let me take a step back. Our immune system needs to be built up 365 days out of the year. There is no getting around that. I grew up and I was never absent from school. We utilize not only herbal teas and the herbs, but cod liver oil.
Yeah.
We never had stomach flus, the flu, RSV, or any of that. We were very much in tune with what we needed to do for our bodies, eating healthy, drinking water. No carbonated beverages like sodas were in my household. Snacks were not even a category at the grocery store. We knew nothing about that. Lunch was a sandwich and a fruit when you went to school, with perhaps a milk. But you understand that as we talk about how our societies have evolved, the elements that have now been introduced to the body of a 10-year-old youngster versus a 10-year-old from 1970 or 1960. I mean, they've done studies about what is now in the children's bodies. And, you know, there's probably 100 to 200 different chemicals that we didn't even know about in the 60s and the 70s that affected our body masses. We have children now who are growing up at 12-year-old, being diagnosed at 12 as diabetics, who are prone to heart diseases, etc. So at our Carson Aesthetics Wellness Spa, we talk with people, we talk with elders, we talk with family members who are interested and who come to us and present issues, consultations, and I'm able to share with them basic knowledge that empowers them to then be able to go back home and manage their families appropriately and realize that, you know what, I am going to get rid of those carbonated drinks, and teas can actually be a beverage, whether hot or cold. And then finally, within our Carson Aesthetics Wellness Spa, we have a hidden gem called an infrared salt sauna. That is a private chamber that is, as Reverend Perry said, self-contained with Himalayan salt bricks. And it also uses chromotherapy, which is light therapy. The colors, which we know colors have a lot to do with our overall wellness, our mental wellness, as well as our physical wellness. And then we utilize temperatures. So in this private chamber, it's nothing like a wet sauna. It is a dry sauna that's much more directed, that can go from 85 degrees, for instance, or 75 degrees, all the way up to 150 degrees. And what it does to the body is it induces sweat. Sweat releases toxins that hold up in our body. And for those of us who have gone through or who are experiencing cancer and are actually engaged with chemotherapy, etc., this can be utilized as a way to release the negative toxins, the effects of chemotherapy, because just as it heals us, it can also do damage to our bodies because it's not smart enough to know a good cell from a bad cell. And it gets sometimes the equation way mixed up. So 30 minutes in an infrared salt sauna after a cancer treatment can alleviate the body of the cancer toxicity, of the toxicities of chemicals that can build up from a chemotherapy.
And Terry, you mentioned located in, you said Milford, Stratford, Bridgeport?
We are actually located in Milford, Connecticut. Carson Aesthetics Wellness Spa. You can find us online at www.carsonaesthetics.com or on IG, Carson_aesthetics. We are at 1050 Bridgeport Avenue in Milford, Connecticut. The BC Wellness Teas that I talked about, that there's about 50, 60 varieties. We sell those retail there, but we also sell them online at the bcwellnessteas.com site, as well as Nicole's website.
Tremendous, tremendous. Everyone, we have about 15 or so minutes. Let's kind of jump in with as the spirit is moving and questions that you might have. Reverend
Yes.
Clayton, haven't heard from you in a while. What's cooking?
Well, Terry has given us so much information today and so much valuable information, and we're really, really grateful that she is sharing all of this information with us, letting us know about her holistic lifestyle that went back 7 generations. That's incredible.
It is.
And sharing with us about the various teas. I wish you would talk just a little bit more about the various teas that maybe might even help us, help me. You were talking about elderberry and sea moss.
Sure.
I'm not sure what those things will do for me, but maybe you could explain that to me.
Sure. So by all means, so elderberry is actually an herb that is known for boosting the immune system. We also have Guinea henweed, which is a Caribbean herb that is good for those who are suffering with diabetes. We have, oh goodness, we have a multitude of different herbs. Peppermint, we have peppermint-based teas. Peppermint is great for anything from menstrual cramps that women experience to actually being able to settle your tummy if you find that you're going through a stomach virus or you feel as though your stomach's just not feeling well. Peppermint is a great herb for that. I am open, Reverend, to always, when clients come in, having just a simple one-on-one conversation, finding what's bothering you, what's your issue. Stress. A lot of people are dealing with stress. Yes, we do have a tea for stress. It's called the Stress-Free Soul Soother Tea. And it is just that. It is a calming, relaxing tea that's comprised of peppermint is included in there. We also have hibiscus. We have the hibiscus is great for hydrating the body. Because sometimes, we just don't drink. People just don't drink water. You're on zero. You're at the empty level and you don't even know it. And that leads to so many other illnesses that you may experience in your body. I can go on and on about those herbs.
Now, sometimes things that are most beneficial to our bodies may not taste good.
Yes.
So, are these teas? Do these teas have a flavorful taste, or do we have to kind of like, well, I'm only taking it because it's going to help me?
Thank you so much for asking that question, and I will tell you that is a man question. 99.3% of the males that come in express that same sentiment. And I generally recommend for gentlemen teas that actually have natural herbs that sweeten the teas. So for instance, I have a tea that's called a dragon fruit tea. That blend actually has dragon fruits, apples, peaches, and other berries, dried berries, self-contained in there. And when you brew these teas, it actually releases the flavor of all those before mentioned fruits. And this red tea is the #1 tea for gentlemen because men generally want something that tastes like something, with the exception of there, as I said, a small 5%, 7% that are okay with earthy tasting herbs. Most people are not, Reverend, and that is where I have to bridge the gap, where they've told me that I put honey, I put sugar, agave, and I always put 4 spoonfuls in my tea. So, first I say, oh, well, you may as well have drank sugar, minus the herbs. But with all of that said, you have to help people and meet them where they are. So good tasting teas, as you labeled them, I do have those. And that's the first transition for those who are not familiar with herbal teas. I have a huge population of individuals who have grown up on teas, some of my Caribbean brothers and sisters, and others who have been introduced to teas at a very young age. So we're able to then delve right into some of the other healing herbs, and they are more prone to following the prescription and introducing it into its life. But I must say, anything that's good for you doesn't always taste great. So we may have to make the conscious decision. And that's where matter comes into play. You can drink something that's horrendous, but if you have to envision it being a strawberry soda or a guave type of juice, you can do that because mine is that powerful.
Yes. Can I say this? We grew up, as you said, with our parents giving us castor oil when we were sick and Father John. But the other thing that we worked with, what they would, and they would give us the potluca from the greens. And we would say, why are you giving us this? This is just the juice from the greens. But they would tell us there are nutrients in it. You should drink this, boy. And those are the kind of things that we grew up with. We have a generation that has no clue about parenting now and nutrition. But Reverend Tom and I, when we were going to school in New Haven, we used to spend some time on Whaley Avenue at the health food store. And so we learned something about herbs. So not only teas, but also herbs, teas like Foti Ting and Gula Kula and ginseng. And Linus Paulding said that a cold cannot live in an alkaline environment. And he stressed that you take at least 2,000 or 3,000 vitamin C's, even though it just came out in water, but it would fortify your body. So I think we need to have another show where we're just dealing herbs.
That would be great.
And teas.
Yes.
And exercise like yoga and Tai Chi. I think because part of healing and part of health are these preventative things that we can do to fortify our bodies inside and out. Because if you can drink all the teas in the world and not exercise and still be compromised by disease and the trauma that happens to the body from not having that exercise.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And that is, if I can just speak to that and say that as we go about with our Carson Cancer Coalition, and our programming includes going to the elders as well as going to visit children. We had a camp series this past summer, and we go and speak with people. And I loved it that Reverend Clayton said that cancer being treatable and beatable. That is part of our mantra, that cancer is preventable, it's beatable, and it's treatable. But you've got to meet people where they are. A lot of people think that cancer is a death sentence. And so when you talk cancer, I make sure that I let people know, hey, I'm a cancer thriver. I'm here. I'm alive. And that changes the whole trajectory of the conversation, that people are then a lot more receptive. But education's the key. We do have to educate our community. We have to tell our stories, and we have to tell it loudly and proudly. And with that said, that's our intent with the Carson Cancer Coalition. We're self-funded via the T cells that we do at our Carson Wellness Spa, Carson Aesthetics Wellness Spa. We are a self-funded nonprofit organization. We do traveling tea parties. We host tea parties at our site. And all of the monies that I collect from that then allow us to do the programming. And I've been blessed enough, fortunately, just recently, because fortunately more people are learning about me, that Tea Party opportunities are coming up. And I have to say that we've been able to sponsor 3 scholarships for women who are experiencing cancer right now in our Carson aesthetics community. And after they complete their chemotherapies, they're able to come in and utilize our infrared salt saunas and not have to worry about a cost. Because, gentlemen, not only is cancer devastating to your health, it's devastating to your finances. There's no ifs and buts about it unless you're a very extremely wealthy person. And that in itself is the truth. And that's why we're trying to address it without any funding. But we know that it's the right thing to do in our community, for our community, because I think God has told me in my second act of life, the time that He has given me, I've got to talk, but I've got to do, and I've got to give. So that's the mantra of our Carson Cancer Coalition. And we're going to be.
Terry, let me just say that the X factor in all that we say here, I would be remiss in not saying that faith plays an incredible part in the journey toward wellness.
Yes.
That's what we preach and we teach, that with God, all things are possible. And you've got to have a right thinking mind to believe that you can be healed. And that and you have to have the faith to hold on to that. Because I think that's as important as all the teas we drink and all the exercise we do.
Right, exactly. And that might be another segment, mental wellness and health.
Indeed. Thank you, Terry. I love shows like this. We do the Tai Chi and yoga show, Reverend Perry, Reverend Clayton, and now the mental. Terry, we have about 4 or 5 more minutes. If someone was interested in the tea parties where we would host a tea party and also pray at the tea parties, let's throw that in. How can they reach you or reach out to you if they're interested in exploring hosting a tea party?
So you can reach out to me at Carson, CARSON, T02 @yahoo.com. My phone number is 203-685-2505. And by all means, you can find me at Carson Aesthetics Wellness Spa, 1050 Bridgeport Avenue in Milford, Connecticut. We are open from Tuesday through Saturday, 10 a.m. through 6 p.m. There's always a couple of pots of tea that I have on, and everybody is welcome to come in, talk, chat, and learn more. Thank you.
Thanks. We have about 3 more minutes, Reverend Clayton. I want to give you the last word, Reverend Perry, and then Terry the last word, as well as maybe take a minute each. Reverend Clayton.
Yes. I'm just want to again say to Terry, we're so grateful for coming on today and sharing with us and with our audience the life experiences that you've had, and about a nonprofit. We just thank you and we just wish you the best.
Excellent. Reverend Odinga Perry.
Oh yeah, Terry, I see a bright light in your future. And that light is going to shine on all of us. I'm just so glad that you could be here with us and to share with us this knowledge and information. There's nothing like having a personal. It says if God could just write His name on 1 billion stars, it would not equal to just one person telling their story. I think your story has enlightened all of us, and it's from your heart and from your struggle. And we just truly appreciate it. And I hope to see you Sunday with the teas. You know what I'm talking about.
Amen. Yes. I'm looking forward to it. Thank you so much. And thank you. I appreciate you all, by all means. And I just want everyone to know that I would not take anything for this journey, this pathway that God has put me on. I have been blessed, highly blessed and favored by traveling the path that God is directing me on. And I will continue to do so, because the mission is to ensure that no one deserves to suffer with cancer. Education, awareness is the most important key. The fact that it's preventable is obviously even greater than that. But the takeaway is, for anyone who is listening, know that cancer is treatable, it's beatable, and you can do it. And there is a community to support you. Thank you all so much. Love and blessings.
Excellent, excellent. Mighty gents, mighty ladies, this has been a mighty show. I'm gonna go, Terry, and put my hibiscus and chamomile leaves in my Vitamix and get it cranking and drink my elderberry juice. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Peace to you.
As I got another rhyme, another rhythm for y'all to listen. I'm never quitting on my mission, I'ma roll with what I'm giving. Got some ambition, this new edition, filling positions. Looking at the void in myself and feeling what's missing. Better watch the way you going, better go in the right direction. In the moment you stressing, but you gon' be counting blessings. And I know that for certain, keep on working, open curtains. Haters swerving, cause they ain't ready for your final version. Whoa. I'm never gonna give up, fall down, I just gotta get up, yeah.
You're listening to the Tom Ficklin Show on WNHH LP 103.5 FM, your home for community radio.